Good day everyone. We are the Group 4 and we are going to discuss about pricing and pricing strategy. So, why is pricing so important? Our mantra is that marketing is the exchange of benefits and costs between a customer and a company. Yet most of the marketing purposes are focused outward, with the company attempting to deliver value to the customer by making a good product, making it available through accessible channels, and communicating the product's benefit clearly. It's price though that provides the company a mechanism for obtaining value back from customers. So marketing is so important because of exchange of benefits and costs. Sa marketing kasi, ang pangunahing prinsipyo or idea ay ang exchange o palitan ng mga benefits at costs sa pagitan ng isang customer at isang kumpanya. Ito ay isang proseso kung saan ang customer ay nakakatanggap ng benefits tulad ng produkto o serbisyo at kapalit nito ay pagbabayad ng gastos o karaniwang pera. Pricing is so important because of obtaining value back. Sa marketing, may 4 P's: product, price, place, promotion. Yet most of the marketing 4 P's ay nakatuon sa panlabas na hakbang tulad ng paggawa ng magandang produkto, pagpapakilala sa mga tao kung gaano ito kaganda, at pag-alam ng tamang lugar para ibenta ito. Ngunit ang price ang nagbibigay ng paraan para makuha ng company ang value or kita mula sa customer. So, mahalaga na maayos ang pagtatakda ng presyo para sa isang matagumpay na palitan sa pagitan ng customer at kumpanya. Next, figure 9.1, demand curve or line. You learn in economics that demand tends to fall off as price goes up. If a firm price its brand too low, they could probably raise price and pull in better margins and profitability. If the brand is priced too high, generally sales drop off. So if prices are adjusted downward, then the volume of sales would pick up and the company could pull in more money, better demand, or greater volume in unit sale. So ang price ay may malaking impluwensya sa dami ng customer na interesado sa pagbili ng isang produkto. Kapag ang presyo ay mataas, karaniwan namang bumababa ang dami ng customer na bumibili. Samantala, kapag mababa ang presyo, mas marami ang tao na nagiging interesado sa pagbili. So, as you can see in the picture, na kapag mataas yung price, is less yung sales or yung maibebenta. And kapag naman mababa yung price o low price, mas maraming sales ang naibebenta. Dahil dito, mahalaga ang pag-adjust ng presyo batay sa sitwasyon sa merkado. Kung ang price ay masyadong mababa, maaari itong itaas upang mapabuti ang kita ng kumpanya. At kung ang price naman ay masyadong mataas, maaari itong ibaba. Ito ay upang mapataas ang dami ng benta at kumita pa rin. Kumbaga, it's like a balancing act. Too high a price, konti lang ang bibili. Kung too low naman, not enough profit. But if the price is if a price is just right, not too high, not too low, more people may buy it and the company makes more money or profit. Next is figure 9.2, pricing strategy. Mayroong tatlong pricing strategy: cost-based, competitive pricing, at customer-driven pricing. Ang bawat isa ay may kanya-kanyang pamamaraan at benefits. Ang cost-based, sa strategy na ito, ang presyo ng produkto o serbisyo ay nakabatay sa mga gastos ng kumpanya sa paggawa, pagbenta at distribution ng produkto, at daragdagan ng markup o tubo. Kasi yung cost ay ang kabuang gasto sa paggawa ng produkto. Ang markup naman ay ang halagang idinadagdag sa gastos upang maging tubo o kita. Ito ay karaniwang percent ng gastos. Halimbawa, gastos sa paggawa at pagbenta ng isang bag ay $15 bawat peraso. Tapos ang kumpanya ay daragdag ng markup na 50% ng mga gastos. So, magiging price equals to 15 plus 7.50. So, paano naging 7.50? Una is yung 50% is ita-times mo siya sa $15. So, magiging 7.50. So, magiging ang formula niya is price equals to 15 plus 7.50 equals to 22.50. So, ang magiging presyo mo sa kada bag na yon is magiging 22.50. So, next is competitor pricing. Sa strategy na ito, ang price ng iyong produkto or serbisyo ay batay sa presyo ng katapat mong kumpanya sa merkado. Ginagamit ang presyo ng mga kalaban bilang batayan sa pagtatakda ng sariling presyo. Maaring gawing mas mababa, pareho o mataas ang presyo. Depende sa iyong layunin at sitwasyon sa merkado. Halimbawa, ang presyo ng parehong uri ng smartphone sa ibang kumpanya ay $550. Kung nais nating mapanatiling competitive, maaari nating itakda ang presyo ng ating smartphone na medyo mababa kaysa sa presyo ng kalaban. Sabihin natin maaaring ang fudge factor ay $10. Kaya ang ating formula ay price equals to $550 minus $10. So, ang magiging presyo nun is $540. So, ang magiging presyo ng ating smartphone ay magiging $540. Ngunit kung nais nating maging mas competitive pa, maaari nating gawing mas mababa ang presyo. Halimbawa, maaari nating itakda ang presyo sa $530 o maaari din nating panatilihin ang presyo sa parehong halaga na $550 tulad nung sa kalaban natin. Ang fudge factor kasi ay isang halaga na idinadagdag o binabawas mula sa presyo ng kalaban upang maging competitive ang presyo ng produkto o serbisyo ng kumpanya. Ito ay isang uri ng pag-aalok o pag-adjust ng presyo upang makipagsabayan sa merkado. Next is customer-driven pricing or high-end price. Sa price, ang price dito ay batay sa halaga na ibinibigay ng customer sa produkto or serbisyo. Ito ay batay kung gaano kahalaga ang produkto or serbisyo sa kanila at kung magkano ang halaga ang handa nilang bayaran para dito. Halimbawa, kung ang isang customer ay handang magbayad ng hanggang $100 para sa isang sapatos at ang kumpanya naman ay nagpasya na magkaroon ng $10 markdown. So, ang presyo na itatakda nila ay ganito. Price equals to $100 minus $10 kasi yun yung sa formula markdown. So ang magiging presyo nun is $90. So ang markdown kasi ay isang discount o bawas sa presyo ng produkto or serbisyo. Ito ay ginagamit upang mas mapamura para sa mga customer ang isang presyo. Halimbawa na lang doon sa example kanina. Kung ang isang sapatos ay karaniwang binibili o nabibili sa halagang $100, ngunit nagkaroon ng markdown ng ang company ng $10. So, ang magiging bagong presyo nito ay magiging $90. Next is figure 9.3, elastic versus inelastic demand. Sa figure 9.3 ay nagpapakita ng dalawang klase ng demand. Sa left, meron tayong demand na mas nagbabago kapag nagbabago ang presyo or tinatawag nating elastic. Sa kabilang banda, meron din hindi gaano nagbabago ang demand kahit nagbabago ang presyo or tinatawag natin itong inelastic demand. Halimbawa, as you can see dyan sa picture, sa unang graph on the left side, ang presyo, imagine nag-start tayo sa price na $7 at nakakabenta ito ng 10 units at kumikita ng $70. As kapag binaba naman natin yung presyo from $7 to $4, nakakabenta tayo ng 40 units at kumikita ng $160. Ito ay tinatawag na elastic demand dahil malaki ang pagbabago sa dami ng benta kapag nag-iiba ang presyo. Samantala, sa kabilang graph naman or sa right side, imagine nag-start tayo ng price sa $7 at nakakabenta ito ng 35 units at kumikita ng $245. Tapos kapag binaba naman natin yung price from $7 to $4, nakakabenta tayo ng 40 units at kumikita ng $160. Sa ganitong sitwasyon, tinatawag itong inelastic na demand dahil ibig sabihin kahit na tumaas ang dami ng mga units na naibebenta, hindi ito garantisado na magre-resulta sa mas mataas na kita. Kasi ang pagbaba ng presyo ay maaring magresulta sa mas mababang kita. Kaya ito siya tinatawag na inelastic demand. So, we have here a formula for elasticity. E equals to Q2 minus Q1 over Q1 divided by P2 minus P1 over P1. Or, E equals to P1 open parenthesis Q2 minus Q1 close parenthesis over Q1 open parenthesis P2 minus P1 close parenthesis. So we have example here. E equals to 400 minus 100 over 100 divided by 5 minus 8 over 8 equals to 3 over negative 0.375 equals to negative 8. And another one is E equals to 105 minus 100 over 100 divided by 5 minus 8 over 8 equals to 0.05 over negative 0.375 equals to negative 0.133. So Q2 stands for final quantity, and Q1 stands for initial quantity, and P2 stands for final price, and P1 stands for initial price. So later malalaman nyo kung saan dyan yung elastic and inelastic. Elasticity is always computed to be negative, but the negative sign is just ignored. They are given. Then E is assessed. Una, if E is greater than 1 as a left plot, demand is said to be elastic. Price and revenue go in opposite direction. With a prices drop, revenue shot up. With a price increase, revenue falls off. So, dito sa solving na pinakita ko, yung unang example doon na negative 8, yun yung elastic. Then, pangalawa is, if 0 is less than or equal to E, and E is less than 1, as in the right plot, demand is inelastic. Revenue follows price in the same direction. If price goes up, revenue goes up. If price goes down, so do revenue goes down. So, katulad nung sa solving kanina, yung ang sagot is 0.133, yun ay isang halimbawa ng inelastic. Kasi yung 0, 'di ba 0 siya? So, less than or equal to or E, or kaya yung E is less than 1, so kaya siya inelastic. So if E is equals to 1, demand is said to be unitary. Price goes up or down, but revenue remain the same.
Good day, my name is Adrian Mark Peralta, and my report is all about low price. Regarding low prices, there are two issues. First, how do we determine whether costs are covered? To address this basic question, we'll compute a variety of break-even simple math computation that determine how many units we have to sell to make money. Here in first issue ay kung mababaw iba lahat ng perang nagastos. At upang masagot ang tanong na ito ay kinakailangan natin gumamit ng simple math computation nang malaman kung iilang product or units ang kailangan mabenta upang mabawi ang lahat ng kaukulang gastos. The second pricing issues is whether low prices are a constant strategic choice, such as everyday low price providers or EDLP, who position themselves around a good value in the minds of consumers. At sa pangalawang issue ay kung ang low price. Good day, my name is Adrian Mark Peralta and my report is all about low price. Regarding low prices, there are two issues. First, how do we determine whether costs are covered? To address this basic question, we'll compute a variety of break-even simple math computation that determine how many units we have to sell to make money. Here in first issue ay kung mababaw iba lahat ng perang nagastos. At upang masagot ang tanong na ito ay kinakailangan natin gumamit ng simple math computation nang malaman kung iilang product or units ang kailangan mabenta upang mabawi ang lahat ng kaukulang gastos. The second pricing issues is whether low prices are a constant strategic choice, such as everyday low price providers or EDLP, who position themselves around a good value in the minds of consumers. At sa pangalawang issue ay kung ang low price ba ay patuloy na magiging mabisang strategiya sa pagbebenta, katulad ng mga everyday low price providers, na kung saan ay nagbibigay sila ng mababa at magandang presyo na tumatak na sa masa. Ang posibleng halimbawa nito ay ang mga supermarket o tiangge. Patunay namang mas mura ang mga binibentang produkto. Next, why go low? Low price came from cost plus pricing, markup above average cost. Cost plus pricing, a pricing strategy na kung saan ay dinadagdag o pinagsasama ang specific na percentage at kung magkano ang kabuuang gastos sa bawat produkto. Next is the loss leaders. Sell below cost to bring customers to will purchase other product. Ito yung low price strategy na di naman gaanong malaki ang tubo o kita, ngunit pang-attract ng mga bagong customers o di kaya upang mahikayat o maiganyo silang bumili o mag-avail ng produkto at services. Next is the market penetration. Price low to attract volume. Early in the product life cycle to generate buzz and demand. Late in the product life cycle to milk profits before the brand dies. Sa market penetration, dito ay sinasadyang babaan ang presyo to attract volume, na kung saan ay ang goal ay maramihang benta. Ito rin ay kadalasang ginagamit sa mga bagong bukas na businesses. They offer a low price to penetrate at upang mas lumago pa ang isang business. The last one is nearly predatory pricing. Price low enough to discourage competitors. Dito sa nearly predatory pricing ay isang controversial na strategy na kung saan ay sinasadyang babaan ng presyo. Ang presyo ng produkto o services na minsan ay katumbas na lamang ng gastos o ng cost. Sa pamamagitan nito ay maaari nilang matalo o mas makakalamang sila sa mga competitors o kakompetensya sa negosyo. To make sure you can stay in business, covering cost sets the absolute minimum of pricing. Cost plus pricing is simply computed per unit as unit cost over 1 minus X%, where X% is the intended return, say 30%, so we do compute unit cost over 0.7. At upang matiyak na patuloy ang paglago o ang operation ng isang negosyo ay kailangang matukoy kailangang matukoy ang kaukulang gastos. Dapat ang kaukulang gastos ay pasok sa isiset nating pricing. First ay kailangang ma-determine ang total cost sa pag-develop ng product at sa pagmamarket nito. Sunod ay ang profit margin goal. Sabihin na natin ang gusto nyong kitain ay nasa 25 or 30%, kung saan ang magkano ang kabuuang gastos. And lastly ay kailangan gawin ay cost plus pricing is equals to break-even price times to profit margin goal. Next is break-even for a good. Break-even analysis is a means of figuring out how many units you have to sell before you make your cost back. Gaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, break-even analysis ay ang pagtukoy kung ilang units ba ang kailangang ibenta upang mabawi o mabalik lahat ng kaukulang gastos. Let's experiment to illustrate. Say you're heading out of town to meet a client. You can take a cab from your place or you can drive to the airport. Say a cab costs $20 to $25. $1 for airport fee and $4 as a 20% tip. At it costs $20 a day to park in your city airport parking lot. Pretend gas is free. For trips of what length, it is smarter. Cost efficient. Take a cab versus a park free and at the airport. Here are thoughts to illustrate. May kikitain kang kliyente, kunwari, maaring sumakay ka ng cab o sabihin na nating taxi. Maaari mo ring ipagmaneho ang iyong sarili papuntang airport. Ipagpalagay nating ang bayad sa taxi ay nasa $20 to $25. At kung magmamaneho ka naman ay kailangan mong magbayad ng $1 for airport fee at $4 as a 20% tip. Kung nagmamaneho ka, magkukos ito ng $20 a day. Ito yung pangbayad sa parking lot sa airport. Let's pretend na libre na ang gas. Pabilisan na lamang makarating or else may alam kang shortcut kung saan mas malapit at makakatipid ka. Ito ay sa pagsakay ba ng taxi o sa pag-drive papuntang airport. So, if the trip is 1 day, for example, you're flying to a nearby city and back at the same day, and you take a cab, it would cost $50 round trip. If you park, it would be cost $20. If the trip is 2 days, the cab still costs $50 and the parking now is $40. For 3 days, the cab is $50 and the parking is $60. For 3 days, the cab, yes, it is still $50 and the parking is $60. So if the trip is 1 or 2 days, then the smart thing is to park. If the trip is 3 days or longer, the very nice choice is to pay for a cab. So kapag 1 or 2 days lamang ang iyong biyahe ay mas mainam na mag-park sa parking lot ng airport. At kapag umabot naman ng 3 o mas higit ay mas mabuti nang sumakay na lamang ng taxi. A break-even can be computed in terms of numbers of units sold or monetary value. As break-even term suggests, we can look on how many units we need to sell before we make any money. Tulad ng kanina, ang break-even ay maaring makalkula sa pamamagitan ng dami ng unit na ibenta o magkano ang perang nakita. Our profit is defined as Profit is equals to price minus variable cost times fixed cost. If we just broke even, profits will be zero. At level of demand that we will be called BE, that stands for broke even. So let us define zero is equals to price minus variable cost BE times fixed price. Rearrange term to solve for BE. BE is equals to fixed cost times price minus variable cost. At dito yung kita or profit ay magiging zero at tatawagin itong BE or stands for broke even. That's all. Thank you.
So next is high prices. So first is, what is high prices? So high prices refers to a situation where the cost or value of a product, a service, or commodity is significantly above the average or expected price. So it means the price of the item is much higher than what is considered normal or typically. So this could be due to the various factors such as high demand of the product, limited supply, product cost, or market condition. So in the context of high prices, price sensitivity becomes particularly important when prices are highly. Customers tend to become more price sensitive and more likely to consider alternatives or postpone their purchase decision. So, we've discussed the concept of a price elasticity and can compute it for any brand segment. To answer the question, how much would sale drop in the face of the price and increase? In a market that are fairly stable, marketing managers might see that their price sensitivity estimate are also fairly stable. If that's the case, we can turn the elasticity or price sensitivity PS equation inside out. The price changes are under control. If PS is a large table, we can plug that estimate and solve for a descent forecast as to what the sale change might be. So the equation is, so here's the equation of price sensitivity. Percent change in sale is equals to PS times P2 minus P1 over P1. So PS represent that this could stand for the quality of product sold, and P1 is the initial price of the product. Then P2 is a final price of the product after the change. So ang konsepto ng price elasticity ay nagpapakita kung gaano kahalaga ang pagbabago ng presyo sa dami ng mga benta ng isang produkto. Sa pamamagitan ng pag-compute ng price elasticity, maaari nating malaman kung gaano karami ang posibleng bawas sa mga benta kapag nagtaas ang presyo. So, pwede natin gamitin ang PS equation para malaman natin ang posibleng pagbabago ng benta. So, using scanner data. Using scanner data is a valuable research for a marketing manager in a consumer packaged good industry. It provides precise information about consumer brand and price sensitivity across various price points. So, scanner data involves details such as the brand purchase, quantities bought, price paid, and whether competitors' brand were chosen. It also captures information about the use of coupon and any price changes. So, ang scanner data ay isang mahalagang pagkukunan ng impormasyon para sa mga marketing manager sa industriya ng consumer packaged good. Ito ay nagbibigay ng eksaktong impormasyon tungkol sa kahilingan ng mga mamimili at sensitibidad sa presyo sa iba't ibang antas ng presyo. So, kasama sa scanner data ang mga detalye tulad ng mga brand na binili, bilang ng binili, presyo na binayaran, at ito rin ay nagtataglay ng impormasyon tungkol sa paggamit ng mga coupon at anumang pagbabago sa presyo. So, using survey data. The survey data is a common and effective method in marketing research to gather information about customers' preference, opinions, and behavior. Survey allows researchers to directly ask customers specific questions and collect their responses. So when it comes to determining customers' willingness to pay for a product or service, survey can be a valuable tool by asking customers about their WTP at different price point. Researcher can gain insight into customer price reference and sensitivity. So, analyzing the survey responses can also reveal whether customers are price sensitive or willing to pay higher price for certain offerings. So, they can help determine customer WTP and price reference, allowing business to make informed decision about pricing and product offerings. So, last is conjoint analysis. So, conjoint analysis is a popular and powerful method used in marketing research to understand how customers make decisions and determine their preference for different product attributes. So, it is a quantitative technique that helps researchers uncover the relative importance of various attributes and levels influencing customers' choices. So, more than surveys, marketing managers' favorite tools to study is conjoint. So, in a conjoint study, customers are shown product with various combination of features and attributes. So, prices being one of them. So, the customers are asked which combination do you prefer most, then next most, and so on. So, in a conjoint analysis, respondents are presented with a set of product profiles that consist of different combination and attributes levels.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charalyn Liga Melody, and I'm here to discuss all about units or revenue, volume, or profits. Ang unit at revenue ay mahalaga sa marketing or business dahil ang mga ito ay mga indicator ng tagumpay at kalakalan ng isang kumpanya. Ang pagmamanage ng mga unit at revenue ay nagbibigay daan sa mga kumpanya na maunawaan ang kanilang kalakal, masuri ang kanilang performance, at gumawa ng mahusay na desisyon sa hinaharap. So first, ating munang alamin kung ano ba ang units. So, in marketing, units typically refers to the quantity of products or services sold. It could represent physical items such as individual products sold, or it could refer to the other measurable units such as subscriptions, downloads, or views, depending on the context of the marketing campaign or analysis. Essentially, is a measure of sales volume or consumption. Units can vary depending on the nature of the business, ranging from physical products like gadgets or clothing items to digital products like software licenses or subscription. Sa madaling kahulugan, ang units ay mga sangay o bahagi ng marketing na tumutulong sa pagbuo at pagpapatupad ng mga strategies o plano sa marketing. Ang mga halimbawa nito ay ang market research, product management, brand management, marketing communication, at sales management. Ito ay ilan sa mga units o sangay sa marketing na tumutulong sa iba't ibang aspeto ng negosyo sa pag-aaral, pagbuo at pagpapatupad ng mga hakbang para sa tagumpay na merkado. Revenue refers to the total income generated from the products or services. Revenue can come from various sources, including sales of goods, subscriptions fees, licensing fees, advertising revenue, and more. Revenue also represents the total income generated from those sales. It's a measure of monetary value, indicating how much money was earned from selling the product or services. So, ang revenue o kita ay isang mahalagang bahagi ng negosyo dahil ito ang halaga ng kabuuang benta ng product or services ng isang company. Volume typically refers to the quantity of a product or services sold within a given time frame. So, volume is a measure of the amount of the goods or services exchanged in the market. Volume can be exchanged in various units depending on the nature of the business, such as the number of the units sold, the number of transactions or the total quantity of goods moved. So, ang volume ay tumutukoy sa mga produkto at serbisyo na binibili o binibenta sa isang particular na panahon. Mahalaga ang volume sa marketing dahil ito ay nagbibigay impormasyon na mahalaga sa pagpapasya sa negosyo at ang mga strategies nito. Profits refers to the financial gains or earning that a business generates after deducting all the expenses from its total revenue. So, profits are a measure of business efficiency and financial performance, indicating the ability to generate value and sustain operations over time. Unlike volume, profits directly quantify the financial success of a business and its ability to generate returns for stakeholders. Sa madaling salita, ang profits ay ang kabuuang kita na natitira sa isang negosyo pagkatapos bawasan ang lahat ng gastos at gastusin. In figure 9.13, we see where this matching occurs. Prices are listed from $1 to $2 for, say, a soft drink from the vending machine. Naturally, as price goes up, fewer customers partake. As the price in column 1 goes down, quantity sold in column 2 goes up. The third column represents the variable or marginal cost of $1 a unit. And the fourth column shows revenue. In the first column, the soft drink costs $2 and the quantity is 100.00. For the second day, the price goes down and the quantity goes up. So, nabanggit din nga na as the price goes down, ang quantity naman ay patuloy na tumataas. For the MC or for the third column represents the variable or marginal cost of $1 a unit or per unit. Makukuha natin yan by multiplying the quantity times $1 a unit. So, 100 times 1 equals 100.00, 200 times 1 equals 200.00, and so on. For the fourth column naman, makukuha natin ang revenue by multiplying the price and quantity. So, $2.00 times 100 is equals to $200.00. 1.75 times 200 is equals to 350.00. 1.50 times 300 is equals to 450.00, and so on. So, makukuha naman natin ang marginal revenue by following this formula. Marginal revenue equal change in revenue divided by change in quantity. So, titignan natin sa fourth column kung ano nga ba ang pinagkaiba nila for the second day. As you can see, sa second day, tumaas siya ng 150.00, while sa quantity naman, tumaas siya ng 100.00. So, ang gagawin lang dyan, i-divide natin siya para makuha ang marginal revenue. So, marginal revenue is equal 150.00 divided by 100 is equals to 1.50 or 1.5. So, gagayahin din natin siya for the third day. Sa third day naman, ang changes in revenue niya is 100 and the quantity is 100. So, marketing revenue or marginal revenue is equals to 100.00 divided by 100.00 is equals to 1.00, and so on. And that's all for the units or revenue, volumes or profit. Thank you.
Customer and the psychology of pricing. So, ang customer and the psychology of pricing, so dito is pinag-aaralan kung paano nakakaapekto ang presyo sa kaisipan at pag-ugali ng mga mamimili. Paano ba sila mag-react or mag-decide based sa presyo na pinapataw ng mga nagbebenta. So, kaya importante din ito, especially sa mga businesses, para mas maunawaan nila ang preferences at reaction ng mga customer sa presyo at para makabuo sila ng mga pricing strategy. At the same time is maka-attract sila at mapataas ang kanilang kita. So, we have here price discrimination, aka segmentation pricing. So, price discrimination with a capital P and D is not legal. So, we're not allowed to change different prices to different people for the same good or services. However, marketers frequently speak for price discrimination with a small p and d. So, let's instead call it segmentation pricing. So, ang price discrimination, ito na yung mga businesses na nagbibigay ng iba't ibang mga presyo o hindi pantay na presyo sa parehong produkto o serbisyo sa mga customer. So, ito daw ay hindi legal. So, halimbawa, yung mga businesses na tinataasan nila yung presyo ng parehong produkto o serbisyo nang walang dahilan sa mga foreigner, which is di siya legal kasi discrimination siya sa ibang lahi or sa mga foreigner. In terms of marketing naman, price discrimination with a small letter P and D, so tinatawag itong segmentation pricing. So ito na yung nagpapataw sila ng iba't ibang presyo based sa iba't ibang segment ng mga mamimili. So halimbawa, sa demographic segmentation, prepresyo ka based sa edad o kasarian ng mga mamimili. So halimbawa, pagsasakay tayo ng jeep or bus, diba? Magkaiba yung presyo ng pamasahe ng student at senior citizen compare sa regular kasi may discount. So, yun yung price discrimination, aka segmentation pricing. So, next, we have a quantity discount. So, quantity discount, another completely legitimate and accepted form of segmentation pricing is to offer quantity discount. So, the more you buy, the more you save. So, ang quantity discount, so, isa rin itong pricing strategy kung saan ito na yung discount na binibigay ng mga nagbebenta kapag ang customer ay bumibili ng maraming produkto. So, halimbawa, yung mga nakikita nyo sa mga mall na buy 3 for 999, which is discounted price na siya, di ka lang nakabili ng marami, naka-discount ka pa. So, strategy siya ng mga businesses para mas maengganyo yung mga customer na bumili ng maraming produkto and at the same time is kumikita din sila. So, next we have a yield or demand management. So, yield or demand management, you know the expression time is money. Just a customer can be divided into segments that are more or less price sensitive. Customer can also be more or less time sensitive. So the practices of yield management are popular in services, many of which are characterized by high fixed costs and low fixed variable costs, to enhance revenue and capacity utilization. So ang yield or demand management, so ito na yung mga businesses is binabago nila ang price depende sa demand ng customer. So halimbawa, sa airline industry, pag mataas yung demand, marami ang sumasakay, especially pag peak season like holiday or summer season, so maaari silang magtaas ng presyo ng ticket, pero pag bababa yung demand, wala masyadong sumasakay, ang presyo ng ticket ay maaari nilang ibaba, like nagbibigay sila ng mga discount or promo in order for them to attract customer. So, dito sa yield or demand management, so dito ay sinahati ang mga customer based sa kanilang segment, kung sila ba ay price sensitive or time sensitive. Ang price sensitive, sila yung mga customer na mahigpit pagdating sa presyo. Usually, sila yung mga nag-aantay sa mga discount. Ang time sensitive naman, sila yung mga customer na handang magbayad ng malaki, makahabol lang sa oras. So, halimbawa, yung mga biglaang booking ng eroplano. So, sa ganitong paraan, ang yield or demand management, so nagbibigay siya ng daan sa mga businesses para mas maunawaan at ma-address ang mga pangangailangan at preferences ng mga customers. So, isa itong pricing strategy rin na ginagamit ng mga businesses para makontrol ang presyo based sa demand at para ma-maximize yung kanilang kita. So, yun lang.
Non-linear pricing. If it's not complicated enough to set a single price, marketers further complicate things by trying to coordinate the pricing of multiple pieces of their product offerings. Non-linear pricing refers to a pricing strategy kung saan ang presyo ng isang product or service ay hindi direktang proportional sa dami ng binili. Sa halip, maaaring mag-iba ang presyo batay sa mga salik gaya ng mga volume, discounts, bundling, or tiered pricing structures. Ang diskarte na ito ay kadalasang ginagamit upang i-maximize ang mga kita sa pamamagitan ng pagsingil ng iba't ibang mga presyo sa iba't ibang mga segment ng customer batay sa kanilang pagpayag na magbayad. Ang halimbawa ng nonlinear pricing is a cell phone plan kung saan bumababa ang gastos kada minuto habang tumataas ang bilang ng mga minutong binili. Halimbawa, ang isang plano ay maaaring maningil ng $0.10 per minute para sa first 100 minutes, $0.08 per minute for the next 200 minutes, and $0.05 per minute for any additional minutes beyond that. This third pricing structure incentivizes customers na bumili ng mas malaking dami ng minuto na maaga, na humahantong sa pagtitipid para sa mabibigat na user habang nakakakuha pa rin ng kita mula sa mas magaan na mga user.
A smart company doesn't just set a brand's price and forget about it. There are a number of reasons to think about changing prices, including the product life cycle, coupons, and price discounts. So, of course, ang smart company daw is hindi lang basta-basta nagsiset ng price and forget about it. So, there are a number of reasons to think about changing prices. So, here's the first one. Pricing and product life cycle. So, each product has its life cycle. In such a case, life cycle pricing is the pricing strategy directed at determining the price of a product based on each percentage stage a product completed. So, ayon sa mga theories or sa mga expert when it comes to business, ang product daw is may tinatawag na buhay. So, meaning ang product nag-i-start siya parang pinapanganak, ini-introduce siya. So, yun yung first stage. And the second stage is nakakabenta-benta na siya or umaangat-angat na. And the third stage is naabot niya na yung peak or yung tuktok kung saan nabenta niya or nasaturate niya yung market. Marami nang nakabili ng kanyang produkto. And the fourth stage is dun na magde-decline yung kanyang product. So, kaya tinatawag na product life cycle kasi may stages kung saan tatanggapin natin ang katotohanan ng product natin is may kamatayan. Kasi pag nasaturate na or nabentahan na ang lahat, may possibility na wala nang bibili. Kaya ang tendency yung produkto mo is bababa na, wala nang bibili. Kaya yun ang challenge. Gagawa ka ngayon ng mga strategies, pag-aaralan mo, re-reviewin mo ang dapat mong gawin para sa bawat stage ng product mo. You'll make advertisement or promotions, mag-introduce ka din, gumawa ka ng kung ano-anong activities, discounts, marketing strategies para makabenta ka. Then pagka lahat ng mga tao nabentahan mo na, tas kung bababa na naman ang product mo, huwag mo nang hahayaang babagsak. Instead, you should make some strategies or innovation para muling mag-pick up or para mas lalong maibenta yung product. Para mas lalong maibenta pa yung mga produkto or pupunta ka sa iba't ibang lugar para hindi naturally mamamatay ang iyong produkto. So, that is what we call product life cycle. Sa bawat challenge stages, mag-isip, strategize, innovate para mas lalo tayong makabenta. So, the next one is price fluctuations. So, price fluctuations is expected in the market because of the growth and decline in the market demand. So, ang price fluctuation daw is pagbabago ng prices. And these prices can either increase or decrease. So, it is mainly because of changes in demand. Ang demand yan na yung maraming gustong bumili. So, madalas pag marami ang demand, nagkakaroon ng price increase. Pag less naman ang demand, bumababa ang price. For example, maraming gusto bumili or malakas ang demand sa isang skincare set. So, there's a possibility na the seller will increase the price kasi malakas ang demand, meaning marami ang gustong bumili regardless of the price. So, kapag less naman ang demand, bababa din yung price kasi yun lang yung way na bilhin yung services or product na ino-offer nila. So next is coupon. Coupon marketing is a clever tactic used by businesses to entice customer to make a purchase by offering discount or special deals. So dito naman is it's a win-win situation. Ang mga customer is nakaka-save ng money while ang businesses get to increase sales and customer loyalty. So coupons can help introduce new product lines and encourage customer to try more profitable brand or service. So, nakakatulong din ito na ma-attract ang mga existing customer na bumalik sa yung store. So, for example, is nakatanggap ka ng coupons sa isang store. So, syempre, ma-attract kang bumalik or bumili sa kanilang store kasi nga makakamura ka. Next is competitive strategy and game theory. In other words, competitive strategies means to define how the firm intends to create and maintain a competitive advantage with respect to competitors. So dito, kailangan mong gumawa ng isang bagay that your competitor didn't expect. Change the rules if you will. So create a need or something that you have that you know that your competitor doesn't. So paano nga ba kung or if tables turn and you are the one in strong position and the customers agrees they want you to win. What then? So, you should move fast. Close the deal. Don't give the competitor time to react and change the rules on you. So, it's a game you can win kung i-consider mo ang option na ito. The last one is auctions. In a sense, auctions have always been around and they are interesting in part because they continue to grow in popularity online. So dynamic pricing is a way to reflect the changes and increase profits by keeping tabs on the number of people interested in a certain product. So for example, yung mga Christmas decorations is in high demand in December. So it's a great time na i-increase ng mga seller yung prices and earn more. So that would be all. Thank you.